I think that the idea, whether one wants to skew what we tend to think of political right or political left, the idea of quashing any facility from hosting people to get together to talk about issues is censorship and hateful, and it's wrong.
We as parents and even as grandparents, we can't step aside any longer. We can't go to sleep any longer. We have to get involved, and that's the only way we can make a difference.
I'm Soos here for Rebel News. I am on location at Canyon Meadows Cinemas here in Calgary, Alberta, where the Calgary Lougheed UCP, United Conservative Party Constituency Association, is hosting an event entitled a Town Hall Let Kids Be Kids. It's an information session about the legislation that the United Conservative Party has advanced, advancing parental rights. Now, this location, this venue, has received, we're told, 600 calls pressuring them to cancel the event. We're also told that there are significant protests expected here tonight. We've not seen anyone outside quite yet, as people are just beginning to roll in, but we're going to be here all evening covering this and covering any protests that may arise. We're also hoping to speak with some of the folks who've organized and are speaking at this event. Very happy now to be joined by Kelly, one of the managers here at Canyon Meadows Cinemas. You know, there's a sort of lot of vitriol going on out there, but speaking with the folks who work here, the message has been clear. Sort of everyone is welcome. This is an event space, and you don't want to exclude anybody. What's it like, despite having that sort of open and welcoming attitude, to see this happening out there?
You know, I think it's been tough. I don't think that anybody could come in and say, you know, we've had a terrible experience at Canyon Meadows. They were mean to us. They were rude to us. We welcome everyone. This is a family-inclusive space. We try to create a space where families can afford to come, bring their kids, do something together. We don't have a side. Our side is we want you to come and have a great time.
Very happy to be joined by former UCP candidate Tori Tanner. You know, you basically had to step aside as a candidate for the UCP for raising some concerns, in many ways being sort of a whistleblower about some of the content that was being pushed in classrooms, whether it be pornographic, advancing certain agendas, drag story hours, all these types of things that have now seemingly been sort of adopted by the UCP with their policies. This event itself actually being organized by a UCP constituency association. What's it like to see that significant change from just prior to the election, you were effectively removed or resigned, but under pressure presumably, to this now being sort of an accepted narrative?
Oh, absolutely, Adam. It's been absolutely phenomenal. It's been exciting for me. February 1st, when Danielle made her public statement, was like a total victory. And it's been a long haul. It's been a long, arduous battle for 10 months leading up to that point. But it's really exciting now to see that the Conservative Party is standing for the truth, and that more and more people are understanding what's happening in our school system. And ultimately that's what really matters, is that the truth is coming out there about the pornographic materials, the inappropriate materials in schools. And we as a province now are in a position now to make a difference. So that is exciting for me.
Why are these folks, progressive activists, so adverse to even having respectful conversations on these topics?
I don't know. I don't know why people don't want to have the conversation. I hear social-oriented people want to have the conversation, and then suddenly when someone wants to have the conversation, you get like absolutely virile things said to young people. I mean, they're at this theater. I mean, there's 15-year-old kids working. So when people phone in and they scream and shout, I won't mention names, but we have all the names, and I'm going to actually put the names of everyone who identified themselves as being so opposed to this up on the screen tonight. And for that, because people who say these things, they think they're anonymous, but they really are hurting people, because they're taking away the opportunity to have a civilized conversation about a topic that has a great number of people interested. And I'm not even saying concerned. They're just simply interested. They want to know information, and we're going to provide it in as objective a manner as possible, and allow people to make their own conclusions. We're not here to help people make a conclusion. We're here to help them understand where they could go for more resources for answers to their questions.
What sort of motivated you, and why is this an event that your organization wanted to be part of?
Well, when somebody wants to learn more about educational choice, we are always happy to help out.
And so is that what this is really about? Like, if parents want their children to receive a more progressive education, more conservative, religious, whatever it may be, whatever they're looking for, that's what you're advocating, not a particular ideology, not a particular religious perspective. Is that the case?
That's correct. Although there are certain ideas that are a lot easier to support than others, some simply don't work very well. So part of what we're talking about this evening is just what you need to do to make sure your children have a good education.
Right. What sort of brought you out? What inspired you, and why do you think it's important to be here?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm a big champion of parental rights and parental responsibility. As a trans woman myself, I believe that parents love their kids. Ultimately, and that's what Premier Smith is trying to do with this policy, what I truly believe. And we can argue about the nuance and how to get there, the profit implementation, but I think in broad strokes, this is the type of conversations we need to be having. Too much of political discourse right now is cancellation, specifically by those on the left. And that's just not what I am for. I'm here for conversations. Yeah. I'm here to have these tough conversations. We need to have them. And I hope that by doing these types of conversations, we can actually depoliticize some of these really tough. I think people are genuinely interested. I mean, I attended the UCP AGM back in November, and I didn't receive one piece of hate. I wasn't misgendered even once. So this fear-mongering, I think, by those on the left, they really need to tone it down. Or better yet, come and listen. Yeah. And we start having these conversations. I'd be happy to speak with those on the other side, I guess, of this debate as well. I think we all want the same thing, just how we get there.
What inspired you? What motivated you to come out to this event tonight?
I want to support Calgary Lougheed. They do a great job of bringing people together to actually talk about issues of matters of public policy. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy to be here to support the Constituency Association.
I want to start by saying that every Albertan who identifies as transgender, I care deeply about your happiness and your well-being. I support you in becoming the person that you want to be or who you already are. And as Premier of this province, I will ensure your rights are always protected.
Quite an interesting departure. Obviously, during sort of the last election, we saw the candidate from Lethbridge West effectively sort of step aside because of raising concerns, some of the concerns being discussed here. Does this signal a bit of a shift in a party that these conversations can now be had and maybe some of those concerns were legitimate?
I'm not sure that I would necessarily characterize it quite as that, but I think that what I would say is the party membership was loud and clear last fall at our annual general meeting with respect to the desire to make sure that parental rights were recognized within policy within our party. Well, I think that what Premier Danielle Smith did in January with the announcement that was made then, that was an announcement that I think that was very, very balanced and tempered and full of empathy. I think that now becomes a matter of public policy. So, or soon will be legislation. And I think that the opportunity then to talk about that is what the speakers tonight are speaking to. And anytime we can get people together to talk about matters of public policy, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Do you think that like sort of crossing the line of going after people's kids was what sort of broke the straw, broke the camel's back, so to speak, and that's why people are finally saying no, enough is enough?
Yeah. Well, definitely. It was that and actually understanding, educating themselves as to what the materials are in schools, right, and what the indoctrination that's happening, and also understanding that they need to get involved.
Yeah.
We as parents and even as grandparents, we can't step aside any longer. We can't go to sleep any longer. We have to get involved, and that's the only way we can make a difference. So that's what I really see happening is more and more people are becoming aware of what's going on, and they're getting involved.
And how do you sort of draw the line there? Obviously, what lots of people will say about this event, advocating for parental rights, counter-protest, there's a lot of pressure to counter this event. They're effectively stipulating this is an anti-LGBTQ event, not a parental rights event. What do you say to those folks?
Well, if somebody wants to try to cancel an event that's put on by a political party, I invite them to consider what other political parties' events could be canceled. And how long is it back is it going to be until we're back in the 30s?
How critical is it that we can have conversations, perhaps even on contentious issues, to help formulate the best policies moving forward?
Oh, it's of critical importance. I mean, isn't that the definition of democracy? Whether you are a community hall or a school or a movie theater like this one of the best movie theaters in the bloody city, I actually suggest that politics and popcorn is a great balance. But I think that the idea, whether one wants to skew what we tend to think of political right or political left, the idea of quashing any facility from hosting people to get together to talk about issues is censorship and hateful, and it's wrong.
Now, I suppose the question that I have to ask, because people have implied it and will imply it, they're saying that this is an anti-LGBTQ event. Is there any truth to that?
If you go back and you watch what Premier Danielle Smith said in January, I don't see where anyone could perceive that as an anti-LGBTQ statement or policy whatsoever. I don't think that anybody that's here is of that mindset. This is absolutely about trying to find the best way forward for parents to guide their children who are minors and under their legal responsibility. I think that's what it boils down to. No one here is anti-LGBTQ, absolutely not. Neither is the party.
Gender identity can be a very emotional issue, especially in the context of children. And as we move forward developing and implementing these policies into law, I hope we can depoliticize the issue as much as possible and focus on the well-being of the children involved.
Well, that is a wrap from Canyon Meadows Cinemas. Despite a lot of bluster to cancel this Let Kids Be Kids town hall, it went off without a hitch, and ultimately, as we mentioned, no protesters showed up. I do want to mention, though, that it is important that we have spaces like this where people can have conversations, gather and share ideas, no matter their backgrounds, whether they be conservative, Christians, Muslims, members of the trans community, simply concerned parents wanting to ensure that they are the primary educators of their children. It matters that those folks have a place to have conversations, and businesses like this, well, they are struggling. So I'm encouraging you to come out here, come to one of these events, come see a movie, come get some of their incredible products. It's important to protect and preserve places like this. As always, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. For Rebel News, I'm Adam Soos. I think that folks here would agree that it is time for politically activated adults to stop pushing their agendas on kids and to simply let kids be kids. If you are sick of political agendas being forced into the classrooms and being forced on students that are quite frankly not ready for it, are not at an age where it is appropriate, I'm encouraging you to sign our petition at stopclassroomgrooming.com.